morning, everybody. Welcome to Havering Means Business Morning Commute. I am your host, as per usual, Chris Dames. Hope you're doing well. I've had a haircut this week, so I'm a happy man. Hopefully you've been to the gym, had a haircut, or done whatever you needed to do this week to feel a bit more normal again. We've got a few people in the waiting room that we're going to let in, and let's see who pops up first. Who is going to be the first one to appear on my screen? Let's have a look. It's taking its time. Ian, how are you, Ian?
I'm good, mate.
You don't win any prize for that. You do know that. It's a matter of luck. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you, mate.
How's your week been?
Good. I had a good webinar on Tuesday. Got some good comments back on that. So yeah, life's looking good at the minute.
Good stuff. And I tell you what, we normally start with a little sort of icebreaker. I was up because I had yesterday off. I took Sophie out for the day. I was up early this morning doing a bit of work before the morning commute. And I listened to the White Stripes album from sort of back in the day. And I was thinking about my first album I ever got, and it was Blur Park Life. That was my big one. So what's your like seminal album? What's your album that you think, you know what, this is the one that really represents me in music?
God, I don't know. I mean, if you want to go to back in the day, I don't think I bought albums until quite late. I was more into the 12-inch singles. Dinah Ross Chain Reaction, I think, was one of my first ones.
Absolute tune, bit before my time, but absolute tune. And what's the thing you've done this week as we've been a bit more sort of open that you've done? Because I've got a haircut, I've been for a swim, and I've been to the gym. Have you done anything that's that you've been allowed to this week?
No, I've been letting everything calm down, to be honest. And I'll probably venture out either this weekend or tomorrow, planning to see some friends outside at the weekend. So,
you know what? That's not a bad move, though, is it? I think, visiting sort of pubs and stuff like that. I'm not doing yet because I just want the madness to calm down a bit. So I think I'm with you on that. Carol, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm having a really good week. When you get rid of the lemony snicket haircut that I've developed over the course of lockdown, it's always got to be good, right? So talk to me about what you've done this week. Now things are loosening up a bit, if anything, and your first album.
The first album I bought is really embarrassing. I just don't even know what I was thinking. It's awful. Simply Red, like stars.
You know what? I've talked about this on Havering Means Business Morning Commute before. I've got a playlist, and Holding Back the Years, I think, is a track. So I don't know. I mean, I was brought up. My dad had the world's worst musical taste. So the first album I listened to was Chris de Burgh. I mean, that's bad. I mean, that is embarrassing. And what have you done during this week that might be a little bit different?
It's a bit girly, so I'll aim this one at Julie. But me and my daughter went to have our eyebrows done yesterday. It's a big relief, honestly, gents. And then we have a hairdresser to the house, so she was here for hours, and we've all been done. My son is pretty much unrecognisable because he's got thick hair as well, so he had this big
afro style.
Yes, what a relief. Just no hurry to be out in bars or outside restaurants freezing or anything with cold food. We'll just keep ourselves to ourselves for now.
Good stuff.
So we're going to Sports Direct today because there is nothing that fits my son anymore. He's bursting out of all of his trainers, football boots, rugby boots, everything.
But but that's the challenge, isn't it? Especially for the kids. It's been a year since they've had to sort of go out and about. So it's all that sort of stuff doesn't fit anymore. So yeah, we're going through that with Sophie at the minute. Terry, talk to me about what you're up to at the minute and first album.
Bad start to the week. I put my back out on Sunday. So,
Oh no.
So the gym session was replaced by physio. But upward curve from there. Played golf on Wednesday. Had a cheeky beer on the way back from the golf course.
What was it like in the pub?
Well, outside the pub, obviously, but it was good. It was set up well. So not too many people there because it's out in the country. But yeah, so it was really good. It was nice to sit down with a couple of guys and have a beer and have a chat. Better chat about the golf and that. But,
and what was it like getting back on the golf course again? I suppose the golf courses have been open for a little while, haven't they? Or they just open?
Yeah, since the 29th of March they've been open. But yeah, that's only my second game. So
yeah, good stuff.
It was great. Nice.
And how's the back feeling now?
Yeah, it's great. I actually went for my first gym session this morning, kettlebell session at 6 a.m. So
yeah,
I'm still standing, so it's all good.
And what's that first album you're avoiding telling us about?
So, my uncle for Christmas bought me, when I was 12 years old, bought me Thin Lizzy Live and Dangerous.
Okay, cool.
So that got me into rock, air guitar, etc.
Yeah.
So my first album was Deep Purple, made in Japan.
Great album.
Yeah,
I mean, certainly less embarrassing than Carol's. Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing very well indeed, thanks, Chris. Yeah, good week, haircut, general side of it. I can't believe people sitting outside freezing and blankets over their shoulders. Come back yesterday. Sweet Rose Cafe and it's about 8 people sitting in blankets over at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. What is the point?
Yeah.
It's nice to mix, but you don't need that. For a beer might be different. First album, I can't remember, mate. First single I'm probably struggling with, but might have been Tied Feet and Mud. I'm sure you're too young to remember that, Chris. Right?
I know the song. I like the song, but I can't remember its original release, Kev. I got to be honest. I tell you, I don't know if anybody was, and again, I think this might be a generational thing. Thinking about, I think my first album was Blur Park Life, but my first actual album I bought was Now That's What They Call Music 17. Does anybody remember the Now albums? I don't know if they still do. Steve does.
About 107 now, mate.
Yeah,
I remember the first.
I was near the start. All right, cool. Cheers, Kev. Thanks for that, mate. Simon, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Best made plans haven't happened because the pubs have been too busy and it's been too cold, and it's not worth it. Let's just wait. Album wise, it's got to be Thriller, Michael Jackson.
Sure. Oh, what an album! Brilliant album. And what's your favourite track on that album?
It's got to be Thriller, isn't it?
Yeah, it is full of absolute tunes. That was the first concert I ever went to when Michael Jackson released the Dangerous album, and it was at Wembley, and it was amazing. It was absolutely mind blowing. Thanks, Simon. Appreciate that. Steve, talk to me about how your week's been and first album.
Yeah, it's been good actually. It's been nice to start getting some meetings in the diary, I think, which is well long overdue. And of course the haircut, which I wasn't like most people. I wasn't too worried about going to a pub, particularly typical British weather. First day you actually can go to a pub and it starts snowing.
Yeah.
It's been a good week. Now, first album, I certainly remember the first single I bought, which was Push It, Salt and Pepper. But in regards to I think the first album I recall buying when I was getting into my music was probably Oasis, definitely, maybe. Yeah,
that was the era. I was a bit more of a Blur fan, but I was never one of those music fans who said Blur or Oasis. I actually liked both.
I like both. Yeah, same as me.
I wasn't that bothered. So yeah, good choice, amazing choice. Andy, how are you, mate?
Good morning, Chris. Good morning.
Now, I know asking you a music question is going to mean that, like, this just so we know, because Andy's on the call. This asking a music question might mean that we finish about 11:30. So talk to me about your first album.
Okay, I'll keep it short and sweet, Chris. It actually, do you know what? Listening to you guys talking about your first albums makes me realise my age, really, because I was born in 1967 and I shared a room with my brother Pete, who really loved soul and jazz and funk and reggae and lovers rock. And some of his records he wouldn't let me touch. So I remember that Bob Marley and the Wailers released a live album in 1975, but I didn't get it till 2 years later. So in 77, I bought Live at the Lyceum by Bob Marley and the Wailers. I was 10 years old, so I remember that.
Amazing. Redemption Song is on my 2021 playlist at the minute, and it's and I didn't realise that was the last song on the last album he ever recorded a year before he died.
Yeah.
And it was just, it's such a good track.
Yeah.
And what have you done sort of in the last week that might be a little bit different?
Do you know what, Chris? It's mad. The mad times that we lived in. This has actually been my first full week back at work in forever, because I've been on the furlough scheme, and kind of just after Christmas I was furloughed 2 days, working 3, then working 3, furloughed 2, then working 4, furloughed 1, and then of course when they did bring me back 1st of April, we had the Good Friday and the Easter Monday. So they were both short weeks. So this has been my first week in 10 years, it feels, but positive, lots of things moving, and I'm really pleased to be back in full stride.
And are you actually back in the office, mate?
I am actually back. I'm back in the office, yes.
See, for me, that's made a difference as well. I mean, we've been back in the office a couple of weeks now, and just having a different environment to work in has been, I mean, I'm at home today, but just having a different environment to work in feels a bit different as well, right?
I think I said to you anyway, Chris, from a personal perspective, I lived and looked after my dad, and he was 96 years and 7 months, and I lost him on the 30th of December due to this horrendous virus. And so when they brought me back and I was working from home, I needed to come out of that environment. It was really difficult for me. So I asked to come back, and actually the hospice has been amazing. They made an office for me and I was able to come back, and I feel more connected when I'm here as well. So
yeah, I 100%. Just having those conversations with colleagues to get stuff done means that potentially, it gets done quicker, right?
Yeah.
So it's fun. Julie, how are you?
Morning, everyone. I'm good, thanks. You okay?
Good. So no more lemony snicket. That's all I'm saying.
It's a bit gutted this morning to see that. I had to Google lemony snippet last week.
I mean, it's a kids show, or it's a kids movie, but it is a horrendous hairstyle that I'm glad I've got rid of, to be honest. Has things changed for you in the past week, and what was your first album?
Things are a bit quiet at the moment, but that's okay. And my first album was Wham! Fantastic.
Oh, Wham! Love it. What was on the
Fantastic? George Michael.
You're not alone. You're not alone. Wham were 80s classic. No, I love that. And then Ash, how are you, mate?
A very good morning, Chris. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you.
Good stuff. And anything changed for you over the course of the last week? And tell us about your first album.
Well, it was a bittersweet in a way. I actually graduated from my MBA virtually on Monday, so it was a bittersweet. Obviously, lots and lots of work over 2 years to read an MBA and then sort of graduating via a Zoom call. It didn't quite feel as real as it might have, but no, it's fantastic.
But congratulations, by the way. But you know what I've done? I've deferred my chartered financial planner status graduation until we can do it live. What are they going to do? Are they going to sort of do an event after as well, or is this it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're in a really tricky situation as a university, because what some universities have is a huge backlog of graduations. And I think my university is getting to a point where they're really conscious to give students that celebration, that closure. So we had the graduation, and then when time allows, we're going to have a big party, big celebration event. So that'll be absolutely great.
Yeah, good stuff. And how did it feel getting to the end of the 2 years and that level of achievement?
It was fantastic. Yeah, I think it's still something that's going to take a little while to sort of process that it's actually over and done with, because huge investment of time, but really enjoyable. I think the focus for me now is making sure over the next 6, 12, 18 months that I actually use it and get the most out of it, because speaking with lots of people that have also graduated, they've just said, make sure you use it, because it's so easy to put it on the shelf and sort of leave it there. But no, really keen to make the most of it.
And I suppose the other thing is as well is it's seeing how that theory applies practically in real life and in business, doesn't it? Sometimes those two things need a bit of work to put together.
A little bit, yes, but absolutely. Just seeing where it fits best at the moment.
Cool. And you're gonna. I've got a feeling you're probably a little bit younger than most people in this call. Go on, give me your first album. Tell me it was Steps. Tell me it was Steps.
I don't know what you mean, Chris, on the age comment. All I can say is I fondly remember all of the Now albums, but my first album was Linkin Park, and it was Hybrid Theory, and
good album.
I remember it vividly because it took about 3 months worth of pocket money to get there to buy it, so it was well worth it when it eventually arrived.
Just so we can understand the age. I mean, I think my first album was on a tape. Was yours on a CD? Oh, no, mine was on a CD, actually. Was yours on a CD?
It was on a CD, yes.
Amazing. I'm just glad you didn't say digital download, because then that would have made a lot of people on this call really feel bad. Thanks, Ash. Really appreciate it. We'll come back to you in a minute. Let's so format of the meeting today is slightly different, because I want to have a bit more of a conversation around how Havering Means Business can potentially support charities moving forward in 2021. We're going to have a round robin. We're going to talk business. We're going to see what's going on in our world. We're still going to do wins of the week at the end of the meeting, and then Ash is going to talk to us about what he's doing with the university, particularly in the intern scheme that we at Savello have used and can potentially support local businesses. But before we do that, let's have a round robin to see where we are business-wise. Ian, talk to me about what's going on in your world.
Well, over the last month, I suppose, been really thinking hard about how to put my products out on my website, because I'm coming to the end of that, and I've now decided on having five kind of main thrust areas, if you like. So there's always going to be the compliance and the change, but to kind of put a ring around those two, I've added risk management, planning, and governance as 3 other topics. So that's the way in which kind of all of the services that I do will be looked at in future. I'll be recategorizing all the blogs and all that kind of stuff.
And are you thinking along the lines of digital products that people can buy off the website, or is this sort of like a product for prospect style thing where you're looking to attract consultancy clients?
Yeah, so some of the digital products will come. So they'll be monetizing that. At the moment, as you know, Chris, these things take time to get together. So just getting the format of the website right before I publish it, then I can continue working on the other bits and pieces. But I mean, I've got a lot of the standardized documentation written already, so it's just then working out a way of putting into the website.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of systems and processes work in Savello at the minute, and certainly that element is key. If you've got some of those building blocks in place already, you're halfway there, aren't you? So sounds really good. Good, thanks, Ian. Carol, talk to me about what's going on in your world.
The world of leaflet distribution is busy. I thought I'd mention a couple of new customers, if that's okay. It's nice to have a little visual. I absolutely love this one. Look, it's a little postcard, and that's their menu. So it's like an Indian menu, and you can see it's like not loads and loads and loads. It's just really cute stuff to choose from. They're one of these businesses quite a lot around at the moment where they're cooking food from home and then delivering it out to you, or I think you can pick up. So they're called Curry On, with lots of N's, as in keep calm and curry on. So I wanted to give them a shout out, and they're new. So I was thinking that I'd mention Havering Means Business to them. And these guys as well, they're also in Collier Row. And they got let down by another distribution company. They're a new business. They've moved into an old salon, so they want to make sure everyone knows that they're new and not the last people. And they got let down, and their leaflets didn't get delivered. So we're doing them now, and they do tattoos in there if that's your thing. And they're a barbers. So same again. I will mention it to them about Havering Means Business, and we never know.
Oh, good stuff. Well, the other thing is as well, if they are members of the group, just give us a nod, and we'll make sure we tag them in this video so they get a bit of publicity when this goes out on the replay catch up stuff. Thanks, Carol. Yeah, let them know. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. Terry, what's going on in your world?
Another constructive week with existing customers. Went out and saw another couple of customers face to face, which, as I've always been saying, that I just love that.
You know what, it's fundamentally different, isn't it? You know, it's just we've been doing it for 3 weeks now. Yeah. Just seeing people face to face, and just
it may be
changes the dynamic.
But you know, it's the confidence level that you know you've done everything you can, that they understand everything. Yeah. That's just been fantastic. Looking at marketing, like different avenues. Obviously, Carol knows we're still waiting for the approval on the leaflet, but we're doing that. But I'm looking at digital marketing as well. So if anybody's got any views on pay-per-click, Facebook ads, and they're the 2 areas I'm exploring. I'm a little reticent on Facebook ads because of my interest in medical insurance. I get AXA ads coming up on my feed, and there's an awful lot of negativity on there. A lot of anti-private medical care, and say it's the US and this kind of thing. So yeah, I know we're doing good, but yeah, I just don't know whether it's the right way to do it. So yeah, so I'm tentatively looking at that. Just with Gemma going off doing her own thing, I need my own stream as well as hers. So
yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? We've tried Savella, we've tried Google ads for about a year. We're probably going to stop it moving forward, just because the challenge we've got is you can't develop the relationship from a direct introduction coming in. And actually if we look at what I mean, my philosophy on this, I don't know how you feel about it, Terry, is you put 10 sort of fish poles in the pond and you see what works, sort of thing. And we try different stuff and test and measure. I suppose the challenge you've got is sort of stopping it if it doesn't work, right? But yeah, it's interesting. And are you looking at Google ads as well as Facebook?
Or pay-per-click, and then Google My Business. I was going to talk to Christine if she was on the line. I want to look at that page and see if there's anything I can do to maximise that. But yeah, it's like you say, it's a question of being able to monitor it, having a finite amount of the time and budget, realistic time, and a realistic budget in terms of what you expect to get out of it.
And as you say, not expecting results immediately, giving it a bit of time and budget and seeing how you get on. I mean, the good thing about sort of this sort of stuff, apparently Rose has said Christine is watching, so I'm sure she'll get in touch. And if anybody else is watching the live, I know a lot of you do. A lot of shy Havering Means Business members don't always want to get involved in the meeting, but sometimes want to watch. Feel free to comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts as we go forward, particularly around some of the subjects we're going to be talking about today. But yeah, certainly one of the good things about sort of the online advertising we've found is the data is really good because you can track and test and measure. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And we'll talk to Julie about it as well, because she said that Google My Business has been really good for her. So Julie's probably got a really good insight. Kevin, talk to me about what's going on in your world business-wise.
Right, business-wise, well, I'm coming towards the end of the marketing plan, so we've got ourselves now set up to run for hopefully the next 3 to 6 months on 2 sides. We've got the professional instructions website, which is solicitors, accountants, managers, and we're also launching on the switching side of switching your mortgage if you've had one of lifetime mortgage last 5 to 10 years.
Okay, this is interesting because this alludes to that marketing conversation again. Are you setting up individual sites for each potential client avatar or introducer avatar?
Well, to be fair, we've taken a marketing agency, so we know there are a couple of different websites for certain lenders on that side. So we play around a little bit general, then more specific. But it's a position I've bought direct leads in the past, and Terry come back and talk to me. They've worked, but at the moment it's interesting. A couple of major providers have pulled out on the direct leads. They're finding a bit more window lookers rather than considering buying. The advantage of direct leads, get the name, address, contact number, etc. Disadvantage is obviously it can vary from what used to be 1 in 3 to about 1 in 5. It can be expensive. But we're just looking down unusual route to a point, but try and be different to the large boys that age the keys to this, where they all spend money on TV. Remortgage is part of reserving clients. It's making them still aware that after 3 or 5 years, watch your situation as it lasted health-wise. We just feel it's a worthwhile site to go to. We can try on it. We'll see how it will develop.
Cool.
It's always shifting. It's always shifting, Martin.
Yeah, you always got to keep on trying new stuff and learning and seeing how it goes, don't you?
Yeah.
That's the key.
Slice is a cake, Chris. That's how I look at it. We have 3 or 4 things going at a time and see what suits best.
Yeah, 100%. That makes perfect sense to me. Thanks, Kevin. Really appreciate that. Simon, tell me what's going on in your world and give us your insight in terms of what the discussion we're having organically around marketing.
Right, okay. For those who don't know me, I work for East London Business Place. We are a funded organisation, which means that we offer free business support to businesses in Havering and across London. This week has been a focus on the Restart Grant Scheme. If you're not familiar with that, from the 1st of April, if you're a non-essential retailer, because some of our clients are retail, but they do more online stuff, you can get a grant up to £6,000. And if you're in hospitality, accommodation, leisure, personal care, and gym sector, you can get around £18,000. In terms of marketing, what you probably need to look at first of all is where do your clients hang out. There's no point having a marketing campaign if you're fishing in the wrong pool. So that really is the most important thing, is what do they look for, where do they look for it, and then customize your marketing strategy around that sort of stuff. I think sometimes we also forget that you don't necessarily have to go to business to consumer. Business to business could be a good way of actually getting a larger pool of clients to then come on board via a collaboration agreement or situation.
Funny enough, there's a really good tool, and email me and I'm happy to share it with anybody who needs it. And you've probably got a copy at ELBP, Simon, of the one that you use. If you've not done it for your business, think about doing a client avatar. And there's a template that we use that was on Digital Marketer website. Don't get it from Digital Market website, because you've got to give your email address. You get about 10,000 emails a week. Come to me and I'll give it to you for nothing, and you won't get any emails from me. I will save you a bit of time doing that. But certainly that client avatar, working out who your ideal client is, so you can think about the routes to market, was a really good process to go through. And I'm sure you do that with your clients, don't you, Simon?
We do indeed, and we've done it even more frequently now because many businesses' client avatar has changed. So it's knowing who they are, and also as well how quickly you can convert them. Once you've qualified them, how quickly you can convert them and turn that into a tangible form of sale.
I suppose one of the interesting things is that element of certainly with our business, we're quite specific on the sort of clients we work with, but there are businesses out there who would say, I've had conversations like this, who would say everybody's my client. So how do you support a client like that to get to the point where they understand a bit more about who their ideal client is?
I think it's understanding what your unique selling point is. Because you've got 5 suppliers in the room that all do the same thing. You can't just say, I'm brilliant, I'm wonderful, I'm really trustworthy, and please can I have the business? But also, if you are an existing business, is to actually look at the process you went through with clients to say, was that an easy journey? Is that my type of client? Or was it a really rough journey and I want to avoid that as much as possible?
It's about saying no to the wrong client as well, isn't it? For me, yeah, 100%. Thanks, Simon. Really appreciate that. Steve, talk to me about your week work-wise.
Yeah, it's been the week has continued as 2021 has started, really, which is that we're retaining everything and we're still acquiring new clients, which is always good. The market, which I probably alluded to in the past, is getting difficult. It's increasingly more volatile. We are seeing insurers that are referred to as dual pricing, where they are completely insist upon one price if it's a renewed bit of business, and then quote half the price if it's a new client that sort of seems to match their existing one. But yeah, the negotiations are getting tougher now. Insurers are now getting to the point where they're saying these are our walkaway prices. If you've got to move it kind of thing, which it's not really conducive to a good trading relationship, but it is a state of where the market is. The market's going into a hardening cycle, so insurers are looking to claw in extra money because they've made nothing on investment income over the years. So. Yeah,
but then the reality of that is then there's a lot of value add in terms of the work you do, right?
It is. It means that. I mean, not that we're shy of any hard work. It just means we're having to work a lot harder and spend a lot more time on any inquiries, any existing cases. We're having to speak to every single insurer on every single occasion, whereas normally you'd probably be doing a limited exercise and just kind of tailoring it around obviously what the actual trade is and what the insurer is, what the appetite is. Yeah. But now we're having to pretty much revisit every single case on our books, which, as you can imagine, does make it
labour intensive.
Very laborious sometimes. But where the thing is, we've seen it coming anyway, so we're actually entering the renewal cycle a lot earlier than most people are, which means we're a little bit ahead of the game. But it's still obviously it's a bit taxing because it is quite a lengthy process.
And then talk to me about marketing. What works for you guys?
Marketing wise, I think we're still probably a little bit like yourself in regards to, you look at all the various different kind of things out there, whether it be Google ads or whether it be media, social media and what have you. And I mean, we're dabbling in bits and pieces. I can't say we're really kind of making a concerted effort in any real direction. We've always found that a lot of our business comes through personal recommendation, and you'll probably know yourself. It's when you're providing, if you're selling a product, that's a bit different. If you're providing a service, people want to kind of buy into what you do and how you do it. So, and I think by the avenue of being on things like Haven Means Business or the Chambers meetings and what have you, it just gives you an opportunity to kind of tell people what you're about and what you're doing. We find that works best for us. Obviously, we're always going to look at the marketing side of it, see if we can improve upon what we're doing, but recommendations and kind of building that rapport with people always tend to work best.
Yeah, and again, it's what's always worked for us, and I think there's an element of snowball effect as well. The more you do that, build those relationships, the more it works. And I look at it, Steve, and go, do we need to do any of that other stuff? And do we need to spend the money we do on any of that other stuff? And I'm not convinced we do, but I think it's good business sense to try it every now and again.
I think the worry is if you're not doing it, someone else is.
Yeah.
And whether you kind of miss the opportunity there and then, or you miss the opportunity further downstream, I think this is why we end up kind of spinning lots of plates. But like you say, do you really probably need to do it? I like to think that people see what we do and buy into what we do, and that's why they would approach us over approaches on this thing. But then if you want a tradesman, you're going to go on personal recommendation, aren't you? So
yeah, 100%. All right, thanks, Steve. Really appreciate that. Andy, talk to me about what your week's been like work-wise.
Sure. Just before I speak on behalf of the hospice, I actually wanted to give Carol some really positive feedback, because I was a printer for 26 years, so done an enormous amount of flyers and leaflets in my career in print. And just this week, I live in Collier Road, Carol, and just this week, some leaflets were really beautifully delivered through our door, still in fantastic condition, looking really sharp. And the door-to-door leaflet was right in the middle there, and it was really, really good. And I saw the advert on LinkedIn, and the proof was in the pudding that it actually came through my door in really lovely condition, really nice printing, and really stood out. And I thought, do you know what? Well done, door-to-door. They're a local business that are doing what they say they're going to do.
Love that.
So that's a bit of positive feedback.
Love that. Thanks, Andy.
That's cool.
That's really good, and I know that Carol Martin pride herself and that sort of stuff. So cool. Thanks for mentioning that. I appreciate it.
So on behalf of the hospice and that aspect, you know, you guys are in business, but we have to think like a business. There, you know, although we are a registered charity, there is many millions that need to be raised, and those millions need to be spent very sensibly. So it's run like a business, and obviously, for obvious reasons, so much had come to a halt, and now we're just beginning to see activity, and it's really nice. I don't know how many of you know, but the Havering Half Marathon is in place now for September the 12th, which is a Sunday. Now, that means that we're beginning to see the start of mass participation events, you know, safely and that kind of thing. But this is where the world of business and the world of charity goes full circle, because I met a lady who was part of the Redbridge Chamber of Commerce a couple of years ago, and she came along to one of our Business Alliance meetings because her sister had been diagnosed, and it was very obvious that she was going to deteriorate in health. And she was actually trying to find out more about the hospice and what would be available to her sister. And she came along to that Business Alliance meeting, but actually found out more about how the hospice could support her sister. Over time, her sister started accessing the day services that we have here. I remember going down to meet her when she was down as an outpatient, but came in for the day. Eventually, she came onto the wards, and I remember her being with us during the periods when we were doing a Christmas market, and she was pushed around in a wheelchair to buy a few things for her family. Bearing in mind, guys, that was going to be her last Christmas. So you have to get a perspective on what we do and how it works. So sadly, we lost this particular lady. I attended her funeral because, again, I'd built a relationship with this lady. And she rang me yesterday and said that she had entered the Havering Half Marathon to run in memory of her sister, but also to try and raise as much money as she could for us. And I thought, that's a journey that's gone full circle from when I first met her to where she is now, and her determination to help us. But the real message here is that when her sister needed that care, she got it. So what she's trying to achieve is for tomorrow's people. And that's really important. And so, yes, we have to think like a business, because we have run, as you all know, for over 35 years, but it must continue.
Amazing. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate that. And I suppose, you know, we've talked about the importance of relationships, and everything you do is relationship based, but in a really sensitive way as well, because you're helping people at the end of their life, right? Yes. That's difficult at times.
That's right, Chris. Absolutely right.
Thanks, Andy. Really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Julie, and I want your input in terms of some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about in a little while. Julie Wedge, talk to me about marketing, what's going on in your business, but also about Google My Business and the success you've had with that.
Yeah, Julie from Flower Shed, the flowers for all occasions. Recently, I've been really super busy. It's got a bit quiet lately, and it's really weird, but I think that's across the industry, and you know, everyone's quiet this month. So yeah, it's odd because we seem to have had all our big kind of events in the year. So yes, and it's a bit quiet now, but that's allowed me to, I'm looking at doing some preserved work. And I brought my kit probably about 3 months ago. And now this week I've started to put flowers. I want to put brides bouquets and maybe some funeral flowers, certain items into my magic formula, so to speak, and then have them all dried so people can keep them forever. So yes, that's what I'm doing.
What's in the magic formula, or is that a trade secret?
That's a trade secret, I'm afraid. If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Well, clearly. I didn't realise your part-time business was assassination, but
oh, it is. I try it on Mr. Wedge all the time. You all know that.
Okay, and then talk to me about Google My Business and how that's worked for you.
I signed up to Google My Business a couple of years ago, didn't do a lot with it. And then I thought, oh, let's give this another go. And then it started, as soon as you put something on, you can put, it's like a website, it's like a shop front. As soon as you start putting things on, Google like it. And then they bring you up and they bring you up. So all the, if you're using your keywords and things like that, you could put products up for sale on there, so you can use it like a shop. But I find as soon as I put some extra pictures on and some bouquets and things like that, I get in 5 or 6 sales. Yeah, so it works.
And talk to me about so these are leading to direct sales, not just calls that are prospective in nature.
No. See, I'm finding, I don't know anybody on here probably that would be quite like me, because I'm a quick kind of lower end of the market, kind of what a sales thing is. You know, if someone wants flowers, they're going to go into Google, need a florist in Hornchurch, and I will come up. Yeah. So they're the quick things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think you're right.
Although I do think people, if I'm going to look for insurance or I'm going to look for financial planning or something like that, I will Google it. Yeah,
I think the difference is that for my experience is my trade, Google is a validator as opposed to the first thing. So people have a look and have a look on Google. So I think it's important to do that work, even if people don't look in that way, because people do. We do. You know, if we need a provider, we'll Google somebody and check them out. Cassie likes checking them out on Facebook as well, which is a bit weird. But
I don't find Facebook's a great pull at the moment. I really don't. Instagram's picking up a bit more. You could be really visual. Terry, Instagram should be great for you, in my opinion. No, I just don't do it.
I'm not allowed to use it.
Oh,
it's a compliance thing.
Oh, right, okay. Then, but you're allowed to put on on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. Don't ask.
Okay, I won't. But yeah, Google My Business, because again, the powers of Google, then they want you to say, I'll go and do a Google ad and I'll do this and I'll do that. So
yeah, and I think interestingly for us, it's also learning from what other people do. So we're doing a joint collaboration with Sharon Brower from Argos at the minute. And she's really been really good in terms of what she does to promote our webinar. So it's like, well, right, okay, what did you do that I can potentially use for my future events? And that sort of stuff is normally really useful. So yeah, great. Thanks, Judy. Really appreciate that. Judy Bell has just literally as I've gone for. Oh, she's back. She's back. Judy Bell, how are you?
I'm in the house. I apologise for being late, guys. I got stuck on my favourite road, the A13.
See, I had a day off yesterday. I went out with Sophie, and first time in a year I've got caught in traffic. It's a weird experience now.
I must be honest, Chris. I was only saying yesterday as well, with all the works they're doing, because they shut it, don't they, a lot of the times over the weekend. I've never been held up.
Really?
Until now. I was, yeah, but anyway, so I do apologise.
Right, so we've got, because you're a little bit late, we've now got quite a lot to cover in quite a short space of time. So here's what we've got to do. First of all, what was your first album? Second, what have you done in this week as we're moving out of lockdown? Thirdly, tell us about life in your business at the minute.
You might have to repeat that because I'm a woman of a certain age. But my first album was to do, I can't remember it. My first single was Nutbush City Limits by Tina Turner. So
that, you know what, that's going on. I'm putting a bit of Tina Turner on my 2021 playlist. I'm going to go for Steamy Windows because I think that's a better track.
Yeah, that's another good one. But as I say, that when I first fired a single or a record, that was what I bought. So it would have been the album after that. What was the next question?
We do one at a time, Julie. Yeah, is that easier?
Yeah.
The next one I can't even remember now. Have you done it? Have you done anything this week as stuff's getting back to normal that's been different?
I've attended a hell of a lot of networking Zooms this week, and next week I've got four face-to-face one-to-ones.
Great stuff. That sounds good.
Ecstatic, to say the least. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And talk to us about what's going on in your business.
What's going on in the business this week? We have signed our biggest client to date. He is a multiple business owner and wants coaching in all the businesses. But also he wants his team coached as well, which is really, really nice. Yeah, it's just all going in the right direction now. Momentum's building. People are coming to us rather than us having to do a lot of real hard marketing, as it were. But to be honest with you, I think, you know, we do our, you know, all the social medias, we do that. I do some wacky videos every now and again. And but it's starting to reverse now. People are looking. They're looking for assistance. So they are now approaching us.
I mean, the way that I always think about it is and what we tried to do at Savello over the years is just create a magnet, right? Yes. Create a magnet so that people come to us. Because I don't think we're particularly good at sales. What we are okay at is creating an environment where people, when they're ready, come and see us, and I think that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the social platform for me that has just taken off is LinkedIn, and I just need to get my head around that a bit more. I need to get, you know, to know all the ins and outs really of it. I'm very basic on it, but yeah, LinkedIn has just, it's done me really good, and the connections I've made, and so many people, when people want to connect, they just accept it, don't they? But I'm now making, not an effort, I want to find out more about them. Yeah. So I always just put a little message back. And yesterday, I think I spent about 4 hours just replying and entering into like a chat with someone. And then I ended up having 2 Zoom calls just off the back of that.
Yeah. I tell you, you know what, I'm a bit cynical about LinkedIn because I get so many sales pitches off the bat. You know, somebody tries to connect with you and then suddenly like they're, you know, buy my stuff sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to get through to me to like connect with somebody. But there was a guy, he's a financial coach who sort of read one of my articles, liked it, commented on it, and left me like a literally 30-second voice memo saying, really good article, really enjoyed it. I hope you're doing well, and I hope to catch up with you again soon. I prefer that approach because that's the start of a relationship, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And it's different. It just had a completely different feel for me than buy my stuff. Here's a message.
Absolutely. I say the 2 Zoom calls I had yesterday. One, I will never do business with them, but he was such a lovely guy.
Yeah.
And he's going, oh, let's stay in touch, you know, and if ever I'm passing, I'd love to pop in and see the office and everything. And to me, that's just it, like as we keep saying, it's all about relationships.
Well,
No,
yeah, absolutely right.
It's really good.
Good. Right. Okay. So we've got about 10 minutes before we hear from Ash. One of the things that I just wanted to have a quick sort of round robin conversation about is our idea about, not actually our idea, I think Terry or Kevin might have mentioned it first actually, but an idea about having a nominated charity for Havering Means Business. As you guys know, one of my values is do well, do good. It's something we talk about a lot in Savello. I'd like to extend that value onto Havering Means Business to make sure we're doing a bit of good. Part of the premium membership that we're going to be sort of bringing out is premium offers for premium members by premium members. And I want to make a couple of people mention that they'd be interested in saying if there was a referral from another HMB member, they'd give a little bit of a donation to charity. Kevin, let's start with you, because I know that I think you raised it initially. Thoughts about how that might work in action? Okay,
you got to look at it, we're all different types of businesses. One advantage is, one with a donation to a charity doing decent. I prefer local charity. You know my background, Chris, round table, etc. If we can help charities in Havering, and by showing a business presence as well, however small or large it may be, it will then give you ethos as well as a group, and it will give you a little bit of feedback as your own company supports the charity. So we obviously got St. Francis Hospice, Love Render, we've got First Step. People who are not funded by large corporates, whatever, we've got the opportunity to say, look, let's make a little bit of a difference, not just our own individual company, but okay, becoming up awareness, people like Chamber of Commerce have been about for ages, they've never done anything like it. So that's what
Look, you know what, I'm sold on this because I think it's the right thing to do. But then, so what do we think then as a group? Do you think that might be something? Because I mean, you know, guys, you know what I'm like, right? I go, yeah, let's do it. And then Russ has got to do the work. So you do understand that I need to check with Russ first. But what do we think about that as a concept? And would your business, as a potential offer, be happy to do a donation, small or large, to a charity of choice?
We're happy to do a donation, aren't we, if we get a referral to hospice? Yeah, definitely. We're all for charity.
All good. I know you're all for charity, Georgia.
Yeah, it's Chris.
Hello. Okay, good stuff. So it sounds good.
Yes.
Okay, good stuff. So we're all for doing a bit of good, all for charity. Let's have a conversation. And Andy, you know that I love you guys. I'm running the marathon. I'm doing the Havering Half to raise a bit more money for you. But there are other charities available. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are. But I want an open conversation about how we might do it in terms of, do we pick 3 charities? Do we pick a charity of the year? What do you think?
Sorry, Chris, can I just jump in?
Oh.
Okay, I might not just yet be able to offer that financial kind of reward as I'm growing, okay? But what I can offer is time. So I know a couple of years ago I went out and did the Christmas sleigh and went out and helped there. So anything like that, I can offer my time at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, Julie, I think the really important point on this is none of this is going to be compulsory. So
yeah. So when you put the post up, I said to Alfie, "Oh my God, I can't do that yet. What do I do?"
Oh, yeah. So what we do is you do whatever's right for your business at the time.
Okay. Cool.
And hopefully, I mean, look, we love you on HMB. Cassie and is always saying to me how much we've seen you develop since you've been a member. I love it, absolutely love it. But do it when you're ready.
Okay, brilliant.
Do it when you're.
But my time's, my time's anyone's. So yeah.
Amazing, good stuff. So thoughts on how we select a charity? Do we do 3? Do we do one a year? What do we think?
Do a couple would be a good idea, Chris, and different age ranges. Okay, no sweat, Andy, coming away from the hospice. I think you've got to look at something on active for the youngsters. The disabled ones, our first step is, we're talking about first records today. That was one of my first charities when I went round table back, oh blimey, 32 years back. And it's come from playgroup to being well supported and etc. I support both ranges, okay? But I think the youngsters of that, if you ever went into there and you walk away not being affected, you'd be a very hard person. I think it's a superb one at the start. Also, I agree, obviously, the one at the end of cancer treatment, etc., is good, and perhaps that in the middle. But I think the main part I put the reason forward is that some companies can't pay referrals to each other because professional standards, solicitors, counsel, whatever. But we all can, if we want to, and in different scenarios, it'd be nice to put a figure in, you can do it discretionary, not saying anything. I think just be a nice add-on to a potential group, which is great. We'll give you something different.
Yeah, I agree. And I like that, potentially 3 charities supporting different aspects of life. Makes sense to me. So you could have, is it first step, Kevin?
First step.
First step, you could have the hospice, because, you know, we want to make sure the hospice is definitely supported. And potentially, because mental health is such a big issue at the minute, maybe behaviour in mind in the middle. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean,
that's good.
Steve?
Yeah, as I say, yeah, we've been aligned to Behaviour in Mind over the last few years, and it's a charity that's important to us because the whole thing with mental health seems to be more and more under the spotlight than some others that are out there at the moment, because I think everyone's struggled over the last year. But I think, personally speaking, I mean, if we're going to be doing sort of a roundup as a newsletter or an update, why not have a charity of the, whether it be charity of the month, charity of the quarter, or what have you, to give everyone a bit of an opportunity to be under the spotlight, just to share what it is they do and get them the coverage they need.
We could definitely do that. We can definitely do that. So let's make sure that as part of Raz, I'm assuming he's taking notes. Raz, I mean, expecting me to do the work. I mean, what's going on? Raz, can you just take a note of that, and we'll speak to Christine and Tracy on it.
I'll make sure it's noted down.
I know, it's done. It's done. Sorted. I didn't even need to worry. Raz keeps on telling me. I said, Raz, have you done this? You've asked me, haven't you? And it's done. I'm sorted already. Amazing. So what we'll do then, and what I'm going to do is I'll put a post on the group today. We'll get a bit more of an open forum. If you're live on the Facebook group watching this now, feel free to put your comments on there. We'll put a post on the group to see what the wider community says. And then we'll get that launched over the next couple of weeks. So all good.
Just a practical issue. How are you going to administer that? Are we as HMB members going to credit HMB and then distribute on a third?
Yeah, I think we do that way, mate. We do the admin. We set up a separate bank account, and we just do a distribution once a month.
Yeah, once a quarter or whatever. There needs to be a central point. Otherwise, it's going to be, hang on a minute, I'm going to give a £5 there, £5 there. It's like, it gets messy, doesn't it?
So we'll set up a separate account as a charity part and do a distribution once a quarter.
Amazing. I just wanted to say, Chris, because I think this is really important coming in as a member of a charity, right? When we talk about when we're fighting for our own cause and things like that, take that out of the window, okay? At the end of the day, when you see a man who is blind and he's walking down the road and he's with a guide dog, that dog has changed that man's life, right? So there are so many fantastic charities that, no, you should never put all your eggs in one basket because too many people need help. But as local business people, I do kind of plead to you to look at the local charities, because when you look at the budget that a national charity have got to spend on advertising, that would keep a charity like First Step and a small hospice like ours running for a long time with what they spend. So when you are local, keep it local. So, and the thing is that I do volunteering. I've started with Roundtable, as you know, Chris, because I'm not just all about the hospice. I'm all about making other people's lives better, right? So being involved with Roundtable, I've heard and understood a lot more about the work that Haver in Mind do, and it's phenomenal. So again, going back to First Step, that's the infancy of life and the problems there. With the hospice, so many people associate us with the elderly. That's not so. We go from the ages of 18 upwards. So when you're thinking about dividing, I think that's wonderful. First Step, you're looking at children. You know, Mind, you're looking at all people who are affected by mental health in Havering. And with the hospice, we're in Havering at Ibawa. We're looking after people from 18 to 103. I think just what you've suggested there, as local business people, helping local people, that's what it's all about.
100%.
Andy, I must just say, I lost my niece 18 months ago, and she was going to come into St Francis, but unfortunately she never made it. But she visited on a couple of occasions, and she just kept saying to me, Julie, that's where I would like to be, but hey. So I know the work you do there, and I've visited other people that have been there. So as I've put in the chat, I'm only too pleased to give my time too. You know, it is such, well, it sounds weird, it's such a beautiful place.
It is, but it's important what the other members were saying as well, that there are so many people that you can help. And I'm glad you're all thinking like that. I'm not here to wave my orange flag. I'm a local person myself, and I've seen the mental health that people have suffered. And also, I know the CEO of First Step. I know the work they do. It's phenomenal. So I think the way that you're thinking as a group is bloody marvellous. And that's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate that. And even though you have got an orange flag, the first time we met, right? I've just got to share this. First time we met, you came in and did an interview for the podcast, which was amazing, by the way. One of our best podcast interviews ever. But you were head to toe in orange, weren't you?
I was.
It's a look only you could pull off. I mean, I could try it, definitely not. It wouldn't work for me. Ash, before I volunteered to get head to toe in orange, which is definitely not going to happen, tell us a bit about you, tell us a bit about the university, and talk to us a bit about how local businesses can potentially benefit from what you do.
Thanks, Chris. I'll just share my screen now. I've got a few slides to talk through, which will hopefully just add to sort of what I'm talking about, essentially. Okay, so I hope that's gone up, and hopefully everyone can see that. So a very good morning to you all, and thank you for letting me join today. Just for a bit of context, my name's Ash. I'm a business development executive at Coventry University London, which is based in Liverpool Street. And it's been absolutely great to have been connected with Cervelo for several years. We've done lots of great things, hosted some great events on site, and provide some resource along the way, which has hopefully had a positive impact. I really appreciate having the time to talk to you about what we can deliver today. Nothing of what I'm saying is a short-term deal. It's available all year round, and I'm hearing that a lot of your businesses are obviously at different stages, but all I'm trying to do is highlight the opportunities that exist today, and would really welcome any further discussions or meetings if any of this is of interest. So to start off with, just to put in context, I suppose, where I see you fitting, I wanted to highlight our mission and vision. And for me, part of the mission is working in partnership with employers. We provide an outstanding real business and professional experience which delivers work-ready global graduates. And that for me is where you would fit in with having a relationship with Coventry University London, by giving our students that real business experience. And as a vision, we want to produce enterprising, career-ready global graduates and support them in launching and developing their careers. And again, this would not be possible without your help and support, and the support from lots of different employers that we work with. We are an international business school, and part of that means that we have a truly global student body, which we're really proud of. So on screen there are the top 10 countries which our students come from, and we have around 2,000 in total at any one time, which makes us a really diverse, exciting global learning environment. So we have 3 schools. The first one is accounting, finance and economics. And you can obviously see the range of undergraduate and postgraduate courses that we offer there on screen. But again, I was just keen to highlight this for a bit of context. Our second school is marketing, fashion, hospitality and tourism. And obviously listening intently there to a lot of the discussion, possibly some students from these areas may be able to add some form of value to a lot of your businesses and organisations. And the final school is management and human resources. And again, a variety of courses here, both at undergraduate and postgraduate level. You'll see there that we have global business management. This is a hybrid course, essentially, with all of the key factors of business included in it, from marketing, human resources, finance aspects. So a really good overall program, which a lot of our students opt for if they're perhaps not looking to go down one particular route, as it were. So when I first got the invite today to chat, I think there was synergy in actually what we could offer employers, but also to talk around the accredited internship program that we cover. So I know there's a lot of detail here, and my slides will be available, I'm sure, to all members if you want to have a look at this in a bit more detail. But with the internship program, we offer a 9-week internship program and a 6-month internship program. The 9-week program is an opportunity for students as part of their degree to work with an organisation on a full-time basis. So they are there to undertake a role for 9 weeks with your organisation. And typically this would be on site to really live and experience that internship. However, at the moment, obviously, we've had to adapt due to the pandemic, and these are taking place virtually. We place students into internships in January, May and September of each year. And we actually have a cohort starting on the 24th of May this year through to the 23rd of July. And we do still have students available. Prior to the internship starting, an agreement's made on the research topic that the students will work on between yourself as a host employer and the student. And the idea being, obviously, both sides buy into this and it's a valuable piece of research, but also the student has an interest and a passion in the research. That makes then writing 8,000 words at undergraduate level or 12,000 words at postgraduate level, hopefully an enjoyable experience. We do support students throughout the internship as well. So they meet with their academic supervisor to work on how that structure is going across the 1st, 3rd, 5th and 7th week. So completely supported, and obviously supported by ourselves as business development team as well. And once the students complete the internship, they return to us to hand in their report and present their findings. And you obviously, as an employer, would receive 100% confidential report that the student has produced. And this could be on a marketing plan or a scale-up plan or whatever's appropriate to your business at that time. So some of the participating courses are highlighted here. Obviously, again, a real broad range. A couple to highlight: enterprise innovation is a relatively new program for us, but one that we're seeing a lot of interest from our global student body on, and that is really focusing on various aspects of entrepreneurial activity and various aspects of innovation as well. And the other ones, as I said, just to highlight around marketing specifically, and also international project management, which does not have to be on an international scale, but this course itself just takes a global perspective on things. The other aspect to the internships are the 6-month opportunities, which I mentioned. So this could suit employers who perhaps have slightly larger projects and want someone to work with them on a slightly longer term basis. And we actually produce this following feedback that perhaps for some employers 9 weeks wasn't enough. So we wanted to react to that, react to the marketplace, and come up with a different offer. So you can see the courses that are offered there in bullet points at the top. And again, the process is very similar to the 9 weeks, just obviously a longer period of time. So really excited that we have our next cohort available for the 7th of June through to the 3rd of December. And we again recruit and place students in October and February of each year as well. And this is 26 weeks or 6 months. And again, there is a project proposal that's agreed between host employers and the university before the start, and students receive regular support throughout the internship again. But the big difference is that they don't actually write the report until they return to campus after the 6 months. So for 6 months, they are purely there to integrate into your business, have a positive impact, and undertake a full-time working role with you. So another great opportunity to access some great talent. I just wanted to highlight very quickly the recruitment cycle. And again, I'm not here to go into all the details, because I'd love to discuss this on an individual basis. And we really pride ourselves on tailoring our approach for each organisation we work with. But generally speaking, if you are interested or in the future interested, we ask that employers register on our recruitment platform, which is called Talent Connect. This is a 5-minute process. And what that does is give you the opportunity to advertise and highlight your organisation to our entire student body at Coventry University London, at our main campus in the West Midlands, and across our other subsidiaries, which are across the UK and outside of the UK as well. We then ask you to complete a very short electronic project proposal form, which we use Microsoft Forms for. And from that, a member of the team would then upload your vacancy on your behalf to Talent Connect. The vacancy goes live, students apply, and we then shortlist on your behalf to ensure that only the highest caliber CVs and candidates are sent across to you. You then have a look at the CVs, decide if any candidates are of interest, and if they are, take on board the administration required to set up interviews and find out who the successful candidate is. And then we take care of the paperwork on your behalf, essentially. So a really straightforward, fluid cycle, which aims at giving you the best possible candidates to undertake the role that you have. But that's great that I've told you all of that, but actually, what do our employers think? Why is this a valuable scheme for you as an employer to get involved with? I've just got some testimonials up on here, and obviously you can all see what they say. That the key takeaway for me is actually what Donna Middleton says from the shirt company, and that's around how positive the experience were, but how much the student themselves has learnt from working with this employer on a social media presence. But actually, we're very pleased to teach her, the student, new skills, but she's also taught us a few as well. And it's that collective buy-in to these programs which makes it so powerful. So I think these are hopefully really powerful testimonies, but actually for me that's the key part. If I was an employer, why would I want to be involved? Well, actually it's that exchange of knowledge, and that works both ways. A few frequently asked questions that I get around the program. So what is the cost? Obviously, that's at the forefront of lots of employers' minds. And we work with a variety of organisations from global to SME. Essentially, the cost is what you can afford and what you think is appropriate. There isn't necessarily a financial cost associated to the programme, as all students are in full-time education and are looking for a professional experience, which again, linking back to the mission and vision, is going to give them that real business experience to accelerate their career. The cost, in my opinion, is largely focused around time. You have to be willing to give your time to onboard these students appropriately, like any other new member of staff. You can't expect to get the results if the students aren't onboarded and supported in the right way. So that is the major factor that I would say there. And obviously we can discuss all of this in further detail. How has COVID-19 impacted the process? Well, obviously, as I alluded to, it has had an impact due to health and safety. At the moment, we can only facilitate virtual online internships, but we're really hoping that as things begin to open up and get a bit more normal, that hopefully, especially on the 6-month programs, students would be able to get some office face-to-face environments. But again, we can look at that. Around expected working hours, in all factors, we're looking at a minimum of 3 days a week and a maximum of 40 hours a week. But we discuss this with the students that it's a full-time working opportunity. So 5 days a week, 8 hours a day is absolutely fine. When I mention international students, I often get a lot of questions around visa implications. This would be classified as full-time education, and instead of the student actually accessing a lecture or a seminar, this is their lecture or seminar for the 9 weeks or 6 months. So there are no visa implications involved. The student is still in full-time education. And in successful circumstances, can the internship be extended? Well, Chris has seen this firsthand. Internships can absolutely be extended. Chris actually took on a former student post-internship. So yes, they absolutely can. We're here to support you with any of those questions. But even if something's going really well and you just want to extend by a couple of months, that's absolutely fine, and we applaud that. The final aspect that I just wanted to touch upon was actually further engagement, because internships are fantastic. We place 600 students annually into these opportunities. So they're a big part of my day-to-day work, but there are obviously loads of other opportunities to engage, and I'm always on the lookout for new employers who want to engage with us. So some further areas that exist for engagement include our consultancy module, and this is slightly similar to the internship program, but students act as external consultants. So you simply set a project and the student would go away for the 9 weeks and work on that as a consultant, meet with you on a fortnightly basis, but work on a specific area. This is really good for perhaps strategies or specific areas that you're looking around perhaps growing business. Guest lecture opportunities. I'm always keen to connect and speak with individuals who would be interested to share their wealth and their knowledge with our student body. You are all prime candidates. You're all business owners, prominent business figures in the community, and you're exactly the type of professionals that I love to network with and love to get in front of our students, because again, they have aspirations to one day do what you're doing. So please do reach out if that would be of interest. Mentoring is another big thing that we're doing. We work really closely with colleagues in Coventry to match students from across the Coventry University group to active business mentors. And this involves an hour a week for 6 weeks to mentor a student. So again, if you'd like to find out more information, please get in touch. And the final point may seem a little bit odd, utilising our central London campus, but I'm really hoping that post COVID-19 and when things are back to normal, I'm really hoping that you might choose to come and have a look and see what we've got to offer. Chris and Savello have used the campus on multiple occasions to host small meetings to large celebration events. I think we had a Christmas party one year, didn't we, Chris? And or some form of celebration anyway.
Yeah, I can't remember what we were celebrating, Ash. I mean, I don't need much of an excuse, to be honest. But I think we were celebrating something, and it was a really, really good event.
It was a great party. That's certainly how I remember it. So we want to utilise it.
On not remember all of it.
Absolutely. But the key part there is we want to utilise it. You know, my role at the university is to show businesses and employers that our campus is open, and that's a two-way street. So I hope in the next few months or later than that, you might choose to come and have a look and possibly use us to host something. But for me, that's it. Again, I really, really value the opportunity to chat to you today. It's a fantastic meeting and environment to be involved with. And if you do want to find out any more, obviously my details are on the screen there, and I will send my slides to Chris and the team, and I'm sure they'll be happy to circulate them if they are of interest. But thank you again.
Thanks, Ash. Appreciate that. Just a testimonial from me. We've worked with Ash for a decent number of years now, and certainly we've had interns from the internship experience that have been really positive, and I know that Ash is really looking for ways to collaborate. Our last intern we took in lockdown and did a piece of project work based on a white paper I was writing. And actually it worked really well because they went away and did loads of research that potentially we didn't have capacity to do within the business at that point in time. So if you've got an idea about a project you want to run, certainly have a chat with Ash. And thanks, Ash. I'll make sure that Rice liaises with everybody, and if there's any questions, they get over to you.
Cheers. Thank you.
You're welcome, mate. Okay, so it's that time of the week again. There's only one place to start. Is she ready? I don't know. She is. It's Carol. What's your win of the week?
I'm always ready with my win of the week.
You're ready at the start of the meeting, Carol. I know that.
Well, it's this group, isn't it? I don't want to be too nice or anything, but it's just, I'm really feeling it. We had a phone call this week from someone that had been referred to us by Ian, so thank you again, Ian. And yeah, I just feel like everyone's really working together and everyone's really nice, and Martin's appeared in the background with his after lockdown haircut, and it's just
show us the haircut, Martin. Not bad, actually, pretty decent. Do you like mine? It's all right.
You're looking sharp, guys.
But yeah, so I'm gushing, but I'm just loving the group. So thank you, everyone, and I hope you'll have a lovely weekend.
You know what? Thank you for everybody for getting involved, and certainly our experience at Svelo has been that this group is a properly collaborative bunch of people. You know, we've had 3 new clients over the past 2 weeks who fit our client avatar perfectly, and that's not the reason we do it, but certainly that collaboration is indicative of what happens when you get good people together. So thanks, Carol. Appreciate that. Steve, talk to me about your win of the week.
I think probably like a lot of people, haircut.
Yeah. It's the little things, Steve, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't need to be big.
I wasn't one of those people that wanted to go to a pub or anything. All I was interested was getting a haircut because I was getting so fed up with the missus coming up with new nicknames for me. So
welcome to my world.
It wasn't just her. It was also my father-in-law as well. So they both came up the same one on the weekend, which was I looked like BBC Charlie State, the BBC presenter. So
look, I know what one I'd prefer: Lemony Snicket or Charlie State, and I think I'd go for Charlie State.
Yeah, but Chris, at least you were told, or at least you weren't told, that you look like Charlie State, but you're definitely more grey than him.
Yeah, not good. Sam loves a wind up. We know that, Steve.
Yeah, I know. This is it.
I get the odd message from Sam saying, "Look at Steve's silly slippers" and all that sort of stuff. But can you do me a favour though? Sam sent me a message the other day. sharing a really good city-based opportunity, because Sam works in recruitment, for a young person who's looking to get into law. And I said, certainly share that in the group. So thanks for sharing that. Really appreciate that.
No worries at all.
All right, great stuff. Andy, what's your big win of the week been?
Okay, so some of you guys will be familiar with this gentleman, Mr. Mike Brace. He is a Havering man, just a really, really interesting guy. And we held a few weeks back, you came to it, Chris, a virtual thank you evening from St. Francis Hospice. And Mike was really impressed with the format. And over the years, Mike's always done a lot of after dinner speeches, and he's always made a donation to the hospice. And he approached me, he said, Andy, I love that format that you did with the virtual thank you. And he said, let's do like an evening with Mike Brace. And I went, that's fantastic. It's happening. It's actually happening. So when that is all in place, I'll be putting the link on the group, Chris. I would like people to attend. You haven't got to even leave your front rooms. It's going to be like, get yourself a glass of red, a bottle of beer, a packet of peanuts, £10 a ticket for a real interesting evening. And it'll raise a few quid for the hospice. But Mike Brace, for such a local man, is like a hero to some of us. He's a wonderful, wonderful guy. And if any of you are not aware of him, please come to our evening, because it's going to be great.
So yeah, I've heard Mike speak, and it's definitely going to be an interesting night. And also, he sent me a couple of his books a couple of weeks ago, so I'm looking forward to reading about his life story. He's a really good guy, really good win of the week, Andy. Thank you, mate. Julie, talk to me about your win of the week. Oh, sorry, I've done it again. Julie Wedge. Let's start with Julie.
My win of the week's coming. I'm going to turn Ian into an Oompa Loompa.
Oh, you know what? You never failed to surprise me. I don't know whether we need a delay on you, Julie, because number one, like either your husband's cut his finger off, or I don't know what's going to happen. It's so much fun. So you're going to dress Ian in orange, is what you're saying?
Yeah, he said he didn't have anything orange, so I'm going to fake tan him.
Sounds good. I haven't got anything in orange, but I don't think I'm going to let you in when you knock on the door.
Never mind.
Julie Bell, talk to me about your win of the week.
You will have something orange, Chris. We'll find you something orange. Never underestimate the power of a woman. Biggest win of the week is just having a great week. I'm not going to lie. I've had a great week. I've met some lovely, lovely people. And one of them I'm going to have a one-to-one next week with is Kevin. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I'm just feeling the love.
Feeling love, love it. Great stuff. Thanks, Julie. Kevin, apart from your one-to-one with Julie next week,
I walked in one-to-one with you as well, Chris.
We've actually got one of those face-to-face meeting jobs, haven't we? So that'd be
good. Getting there. I've first been away. We're starting now to get back to face-to-face meetings. Business marketing plans start to come through station, and I have my first lady consultant joining our team, so that would be good. So we'll be getting very widespread there. But you're saying about Mike Brace, I've had the pleasure of knowing Mike for 20 plus years. Just been on some red wine, even in white wine and red wine, we're very good. Right, he's a superb guy, very human, very superb.
Yeah, 100%. I haven't known Mike for that long, but I agree. So, cheers, Kev. Ian, talk to me about your wins this week.
Well, I've already mentioned about the webinar. That was great. I've actually got 2 new client meetings later on today, and that's the first time I've had 2 new clients in a while, so that's a really good one for me.
That's good. And talk to me in terms of webinar. What's the next step for the people who attended the webinar for you?
It's just follow-ups. I mean, it was at See Me, so I'm just waiting for the attendee list from Samaya down at See Me, and then I'll be doing follow-up calls.
And Ian, Raz, can you remind me of this? I'll be in touch with you to see if we can see if we can get some HMB relationships at See Me, because that might be a good venue to run some events, live events, when we can do that sort of stuff, mightn't it?
Yeah, they've got the great exhibition space, and they often use the mezzanine floor for their steam meets that they used to have down there. So that may be available.
as well as us going into town and using the university. Ash, that's got
Absolutely,
to be. We haven't had
absolutely.
a celebration in a while. We can find an excuse, can't we? So, Simon, talk to me about your win of the week.
Well, the most immediate one was actually being able to stay on the HMB call. Having a problem with my computer this morning. I would say it's a couple of clients that had, as it were, wobblies in terms of their business, and probably touches into sort of like the mental health aspects of things. So that's still bubbling away with many clients. So just leaving them in a good place at the end of a session feels good in itself.
You know what? I think I was having this conversation the other day. I think we have moved on in terms of being able to have adult, sensible conversations about mental health in the last few years, haven't we? And I think if we pretend that the pandemic hasn't been difficult on all of us, certainly some more than others, but we need, like, are you finding the business owners who are struggling at times appreciate that space to talk?
Yeah, because sometimes the people around them don't get it. Their staff don't get it. They don't, members of their family don't get it. So having someone that's not financially involved or emotionally involved in their business, but understands the business world, can be really quite helpful.
And just on that note, I didn't. Thanks for mentioning that, Steve. Sam, Steve's wife, has started a mental health podcast, and the first episode is going out today. Where's it going to be, Steve? Is it going to be on iTunes or Spotify, or where is it?
I'll be honest, I'm not too sure. Mrs. is out for a run at the moment, so I will check, and I'll post something in the Haven Means Business just so people can actually see where it is. But it's her and her colleague Amy just drawing on their own experiences.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Terry, talk to me about your win of the week, mate.
It has to be. My grandson got his first choice primary school.
Great work.
So he's been so excited about it. Like, they're walking past it going, I'm going to be going there, mummy. And the fact that she can say, yeah, that's where you're going. It's a short walk from the apartment she's got. Is brilliant. We're so chuffed for the pair of them. So.
Oh, love it. Absolutely love it. So is that a September start?
Yeah. Yep. September start. So that's
a big step, right?
Yeah. He's gonna love it. He's such a sociable kid. He's just gonna go nuts.
Yeah.
He's got someone who makes it preschool, so it's gonna be.
Yeah, and over the past year, that's what a lot of the kids have missed, isn't it? Yes. Just that sort of social interaction. I mean, we've missed it. I mean, I think the kids have missed it more. Ash, what's your? I've realised I've just gone to him and he's just started drinking a glass of water. But last but not least, Ash, what's been your big win of the week?
Well, I think as I mentioned at the start of the meeting, graduating with my MBA was definitely a highlight. But on another personal note, it's my son's birthday on the weekend, so looking forward to a nice family garden-based celebration for that.
How old is he, mate?
He's going to be 13.
Okay, big one then.
Yeah, big birthday. Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, well that's it for today. Just one quick thing. I know Steve's going to do a link. Sam's podcast is called Down the Rabbit Hole, so check that out when you get a chance. Have a lovely remainder of today. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you on the HMB community next week.
Cheers, guys.
See you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.